mi gente, and welcome to today's episode of Chateau Bow Wow. I have several guests today. I have my awesome producer, Manny Cabo, and I also have a super special guest, Cristina Escobar. Cristina and I came across each other in Sundance, and I heard her speak briefly, and I made it my mission to have her on the show one day. Had I, planned to do this a lot sooner, I wish I would have done that, Manny, But it took a while to get going.
Better late than never, man. Better late than never.
But Cristina is really, was sitting down with her today. She's a powerful voice in Latino entertainment and journalism. She's intelligent, charismatic, deeply connected to storytelling and culture. And I'm really happy to have her here today. Is she in the waiting room yet?
I don't think so, but we will know. As a matter of fact, let me see. No, she might be in there. She's very efficient. I'd be surprised if she was. Yeah, she is there. Should we let her in?
I would think we should let her in.
Sure. Hey, you're the host, man. You tell me when.
Absolutely.
All right. 100%. I'm the gatekeeper, so you heard it here live. Let's let her in. And she should be coming on shortly. And there she is.
There she is. Hola, Cristina.
Hola, I misspelled my own name. How do I fix that?
How do you misspell your own name? You know what? Let me see if I can help you out there.
It's a CH, right?
No. Claro que no. No, there's no Escobar.
Cristina Escobar.
It's just an extra at the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm so blind.
Well, I tell you what, if you don't know how to spell your own name, then with us, you're really in trouble. We're in trouble here. Cristina Escobar, is that good?
Yeah, claro. Thank you.
Good.
I'm just a
good to see you,
fast
Cristina.
typer. Good to see you too. How are you? Do I sound okay?
Yeah.
You sound amazing.
You sound awesome. Hi. I don't know if you remember me. Do you remember me from Sundance?
I do. How are you?
I'm okay. I was very happy to meet you over there. And we haven't had a chance to catch up. We have a lot of friends in common. I had Maylene Galienes here. A couple weeks ago, I flew her in, and I was hoping to fly more people in, but the way the schedule worked out, Manny got sick, so I blame him.
Sure.
And then I got sick as
Definitely his fault.
I'm always the fall guy.
Yeah. So I'm doing a few remote episodes here before we break for our mid-season break. And so I'm glad to have you remotely at the very least.
I feel bad because I didn't even know I was going to host today or co-host, if you will. So I feel bad tag teaming here, but I figured, you know what, we've had our introductions already, so we got that out of the way. We broke the ice. So I said, Jerry, you got to have her on the show. And I know that since we both saw you in Park City, all your words really resonated with me. And the first word that came to mind, if you remember, I'm alluding to this, our interview, was authenticity and how you're able to bridge the gap with everything that you say. And you have this inclusive mentality, but really focusing on, the deficit of the Latin culture in cinema. But we'll get into that. He's the host. I don't even know. I'm just going to shut up.
One of the things that I've noticed, again, obviously I've read up on you and everything. And my favorite thing that I saw, again, your resume is super impressive. My favorite thing that I see is changemaker. That's so awesome. Please tell me about that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's easy to look at the world around and be like, oh, it's rough out there. There's so many things that are wrong. Our country, our society is heading in the wrong direction. But I take a lot of hope in that, like, this world, this country is largely what we make it, and we can be forces for good in the world. And I think about it as myself as like, well, what are my unique talents and skills and like positional power, and how can I use that for good? And so, that is what I have done at Latina Media Co, because I firmly believe that if this world is going to move to be fair and just for everybody, that everybody needs a chance to tell their own story and evaluate it. And there's a lot of really amazing people, and I know you've had some of them on the show, who are working on the telling your own story aspect of it, but not as many people are working on the evaluate it. And I think when we have a mass of critics who don't represent the population at large, where white guys are twice as loud as it makes real sense for them to be. When you look at the demographics, that we do ourselves a disservice in terms of understanding what is quality, what art matters, what art is good, what is important. And so at Latina Media Co, I co-founded it to help be an explicit invitation to Latina and queer Latinx folks that we too can be cultural critics, that our hot takes, thoughts, opinions, loves, hates, whatever, are just as important as everybody else's, and that we should have that space to talk to each other, to sound off, and like let the world know what we care about.
Nice. Very nice. I've always felt that we weren't giving chances. Like you see a show that's Latino driven, or the main character might be Latina, or and it just seems that these shows aren't given enough running time, enough runway to take
For
off.
sure.
What has been your experience in spreading the word to give us a chance?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think the cancellation is real. The pathway to cancellation is real. Even our shows that do really well sometimes still get canceled. It's not just numbers. To me, I envision a studio exec having to make tough decisions and looking at a show that doesn't resonate with him personally and it feeling easy for him. And I'm using that pronoun purposefully, although there are women execs. Purposefully, and it makes it easy for them to cut. They make those decisions, based partly on numbers and partly on gut. And I think we fall behind both ways. Sometimes our shows do succeed number-wise. Sometimes they don't, but they tend also not to get the marketing dollars, right? Maybe not to get the production dollars. I think of like Selena, a series, and on Netflix, like that show should have had the same budget as The Crown. Like Selena is our royalty in it. Man, it did not, right? It did not.
I thought it was great, though. I thought it was great.
I thought it was okay, but
really, just okay. I thought it was great. I loved it because you just don't see too many things like that for us.
Yeah, I mean, it was a top performer. It topped the charts. I think like you could see like there were times when like they were driving and they were like super clearly on a sound stage with like a terrible blue screen behind them. And that was just like money,
Really? I didn't notice
money.
that. I didn't notice that.
What's crazy is you really supported boasting more about the film, but you weren't crazy about it. So that's a pretty wild dichotomy there. That's pretty interesting.
I mean, okay, so that was the series. I liked the documentary a lot. No, I wrote about that series and saying it was okay. And like, but we should be able to have okay stuff too. Like, I think there's a lot of pressure for us to be twice as good, to get half as far.
Agreed.
And, we should have a range of like auteur stuff and lowbrow stuff and reality television. Like the Real Housewives of Miami just got paused, and like that's annoying too. That one was ours. And so, what we do on Latina Media Co is we definitely privilege reviewing and talking about those shows, knowing that they maybe don't get the same marketing budget. If we're not talking about it, then nobody knows about it. And to try to do some of that work. But like, honestly, the studios need to put some money behind our products, which are good. I think a really strong example is like the second season of Hintified. Like, we loved the first season, and I know even like my like Latino super fans, they didn't even know when the second season came out because they spent no marketing dollars on it. And of course, then it underperformed. Nobody knew it was there.
I haven't even seen that. I don't even know about it.
I love the
Go
show.
watch it. It's good.
Yeah, I love
now
the show.
I have to. I have no choice.
And it's funny is every time I see Annie Gonzalez in LA, I see her just in these events and stuff. I just give a little fist bump. I'm like, "What's up?" She's like, "What's up?" Every time I see, I don't hang on people. I just give them a little fist bump. "What's up, Annie? ¿Cómo están, nena?" And I keep it moving. Because I don't know her like that. But I'd love to have her on the show one day. You've had a chance, Cristina, to interview so many talented people. What separates the artists who truly have a lasting impact from the ones who simply chase fame?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great
question. That's a good question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the teleprompter.
Somebody wrote it. It was probably you, no? I mean, I think it is so hard for anyone in our community to break through that I'm not even sure we're like able to answer that question. Like I remember I interviewed the cast of Primo. Do you remember that show? It got one season. It was
Mhm.
great. It was by Shea Serrano. It was like a coming of age story. I think it was on Prime's free channel that has since dissolved. Um, and all of them spoke about, like, I wanted to ask them, like, what excited you about this role? And, like, pretty much all of them were like, having a role where I got paid. Like,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
even necessarily, and they were great. They were like all so good. It
Mm.
was an ensemble cast. Um, we so rarely even get like the chance to like make those strategic decisions.
yeah.
Just trying to like nudge our feet in the door that I think it's really hard. I do want to say though that like I've gotten to interview Justina Machado and like she is exactly like how you think she would be. She's
Right.
funny and warm and smart and it's like I can see why she is one of our rising talents because she is so authentically herself everywhere she goes and she brings that like same energy. So I do think that is a distinguishing factor, but I think a lot of times we don't even really get the chance to like maneuver in that way.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. And that's the whole thing is they won't green light anything that's untested. There's no
Mhm.
untested concepts that they'll do. And it's like, well, how do you test it if you
Mhm.
never give it a green light?
Everybody's
So
scared. Yeah.
yeah. So
For
so
sure.
you
Or
go ahead.
yeah, I want to say like remember Betty? Ugly Betty? Like
Betty
that
La
show
Fea.
did
It's great.
great. And then where were all of our other telenovela crossovers? It was tested, it was proven, and then they still said no. So, you know, shenanigans on their part, or
Yeah.
they're lying to themselves and to us.
Yeah. Well, they
Uh,
had to make a 17th Spider-Man. That's what it
yeah.
is.
Of course.
You know.
We were just talking
So,
about that yesterday
yeah.
too. So many
Yeah.
movies get shunned and everything, but one of the things that you spoke about that I wanted to
Mm.
actually bring it to his attention, which was very alarming. You said that Latinos as a whole, we comprise 20% of the population, yet just barely, at best, 3% in the entertainment industry. And I know, as I say,
That's
that
true.
chaps my ass. So talk to me more about how you feel and how.
That's a visual.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
Ooh.
that's a rough one.
Yeah, it is rough. And I think what's scary to me about that is, you know, in the last like decade, we had this big boon in entertainment products with the streaming era where we got a lot more scripted shows, we got a lot more shows. And in that expansion, Latinos held our same percentage. And it depends on like what, you know, are you looking at writer? Are you looking at director? Are you looking in front of the camera, lead roles, whatever? The percentages are vary, but nowhere do we get anywhere close to 20%. So it's
Mhm.
like 3 to I think like 7.5%, depending on what metric you're looking at. Um, but we held steady in those percents, which meant that we got a lot more products because when, you know, the number of shows being in production doubles, we doubled, right? And so there was more to watch, which was great. And you also now have access to older shows because of like the streaming glut, right? So you can
Yeah.
have make those choices and watch those shows, but it's contracting now. And what's going to happen? Are we going to even keep our 3 to 7.5%? I hope so, but I don't know. And the numbers are not still out, but I do know that like women are directing less stuff. Like there is a contraction, and that number of women directors is really important one because when a woman directs a film, it statistically has better representation, more women, more people of color, more Latinos. So we're seeing this like Hollywood step back, this like cowardice around producing the quote unquote like diversity stuff that they used to produce. But I want to say it's cowardly for a lot of reasons, maybe because their folks are scared of new things, but also because we are their audience. You know, Latinos, we show up at the box office, we subscribe to streamers at higher percentages, and so they leave us behind at their peril. And we'll just have to see what happens.
The things that I like, I have, I write films and I write books and screenplays, and some of the stuff that I've made, I won't lie, my deeper stuff, right? I haven't got a budget yet, so I wouldn't say forced, but I make lower budget things. I make lower
Mm.
budget things that we can afford to make. They're easier. They're easier to shoot. They're more economical, and I'm hoping that my work actually, in the future resonates that I can make the stuff that I want to make. You know, I've signed on now with a few people, and I have several contracts that obviously I can't talk about. But the things I can talk about, and maybe you could help with this too, is um, I write strong Latino family stuff. That's the
Mm.
stuff I want to make, right? But right now I'm making more, more, I wouldn't say not smart, but it's more horror. It's more,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
just
yeah.
just more fluff.
It's more entertaining stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely.
But the stuff that I really want to do, I can't get a budget for, you know?
Mm.
So what would you advise people in my position, again, and again, you've seen it all, I'm sure, uh, uh, to stay the course? How would you advise that?
Yeah. I mean, that's hard. And I think you're not alone. That's the first thing I would say. And I think sometimes we get a lot of rejections, and it's really hard not to take it personally, not to internalize it. And so just hearing how you set that up, I think you're already in the right space because you're aware that, like, you've got really cool stuff and really cool ambition, and the problem is outside of you. I think that's, first of all, like the most
Yeah.
important thing to start with.
Yeah.
And then, like, I want our stuff to have big budgets, but like, I don't know, filmmakers are going to filmmake, and we're going to figure out ways to get stuff done. And maybe it's not going to get the big budget, but sometimes, figuring out how to do stuff on a lower budget,
Mm.
build some really like interesting innovations. And I think that can be true in the distribution models as well. So, one of the things I thought about a lot at the last Sundance I went to, and I heard a lot of discussion around, is because we're seeing these big media mergers, and if they go through, I hope they don't. You can take action against them. Call your state AG, attorney general, to say oppose it. But like, the film industry, as it has existed, is collapsing in a lot of ways that feel really
Hmm.
scary, but also maybe are
Mm.
opportunities for us to build something new and something different. And I heard at Sundance Ava DuVernay talk about this, and like, when you have that creative impulse, you have to let it out, right? Like, it's in you, and it's like eating or having sex. Like, you have a drive for it. You need to like go get it. And so, to keep doing that, and maybe we have to find new ways, and maybe that's stressful and more work and frustrating. But I think there's also a chance for excitement as well.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to interject
No, go
prematurely,
ahead.
but I may be a little biased because, I've encountered, we've had some great heartfelt dialogue, and obviously I've worked with Jerry. So I may be a little biased when I say one of the things that separates those opportunities, because I'm more of an opportunistic person. I'm very positive as well. So I think resilience plays a big part, and you have to
Sure.
take the nays, the hardships to heart. And Jerry's very resilient. And Flux, not for nothing, but we've got 20 international laurels. I would like to see you create something from Latino oriented just to see how well received it would get. Will it get 20 international? Maybe more, maybe less. I don't know.
Mm.
So, but you don't know unless you execute. And both
Right.
you have certainly proven, have a very strong resume, that you got to get your word out there.
Yeah.
Our job is to create. We have this conversation all the time. Don't attach your emotion to the end result. Don't give two shits where it goes. Just create, put your best work out there, but make sure that you do the legwork, put in the reps to get the best probable opportunity to get that film out there. And everyone gets so discouraged when they get the no's and this and that, and all the narratives that are going on, whatever the case may be. And that's fine. The world will continue, but it's up to the creator to put forth the best effort to get that product out there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I agree. And you can't wait for permission. You have
He
to
says that all the
go.
time.
You
Yeah.
have to
Hmm.
do the thing. And sometimes you have to build it on your own. And like, so I co-run Latina Media Co, or an indie media outlet. And like, do I love being the one who has to like file our taxes? No.
I
That is
think
not
nobody
why I
has.
started it,
Right.
like,
Right.
but It is part of it. You have to learn new things. And, filing our taxes enables me to be able to platform all sorts of new, upcoming, and established writers and critics. And there is the joy in that. And had I waited for another publication to come along with financing and all of this stuff, it wouldn't exist. And we were founded in 2018. We've been rolling for a while. We've built a cool audience. We've attracted cool supporters, and we're doing a thing and, on our own, and nobody allowed us to. And we do it well.
Yeah, that's really great, man. I know that that was my first Sundance when I met you, and I've never been colder in my entire life.
That's all he talks about.
I'm from New York, and I've been cold. I've
was.
never been that cold in my life.
It was cool.
It was horrific. But I'm so happy that I went, because I came across you. Of course, we made an acquaintance, and I came across my determined attorney, which I met, Heidi Vacarano, who's awesome also. I've always supported my Link Calienes and Latino Filmmakers Network, and all that stuff I just love that stuff, and I just love to hear everybody speak and everybody give their stories, because we're equally yoked in that struggle. So Hollywood, like you said, is collapsing, I think, right? And it's evolving into something else. Where do you think Latinos have made the biggest strides in the progress, and where do you think we still fall short?
Oh, that's another really good question.
Oh, it's what I do. I read
it.
I read what's
I
in
ask
front
good questions when it's my turn. It's harder being on this side, I think.
Yeah, you get it thrown back at you. You don't like it, do you?
No, I like it. I do like a good question. So I think we have made strides in organizing and talking to each other about what matters, in founding institutions like Latina Media Co, but also in networks. I think one of the things, and this is maybe specifically for the Latina side of it, is we are excellent network builders. We're excellent connectors and conveners. We do that in our personal lives. We do it in our professional lives. And I think we've seen a lot of progress in doing that, and what can happen when we do that and we build our power. Pero our community is not perfect. And sometimes when we do that, we end up replicating structures that don't serve us. Maybe it's sexism, maybe it's the racism inside our communities, maybe it's classism, maybe it's feelings we have about who's immigrated when, where,
it's
and
pre-existing templates that have been out there already set. I get it.
Yeah. And so I think we do have more work to do in those structures to make sure that they're inclusive of Afro-Latinos, they're inclusive of queer folks, and that we're inclusive of Indigenous folks, and that we're building something not just different, but new, right? That we're rejecting old power structures that maybe we brought with us from our home countries, maybe we're replicating here in the United States, and that we can really build a different sense of our community, of who we are, of how we want to handle power. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And it's a scary time for our community. There's a lot of stuff happening in our nation where we're being targeted in all sorts of different ways. But I think on the Hollywood side, we have this ability to clean our own house and move forward stronger together. And that's going to be the only way to move up and out, and to create the new things that we need, which you do see some of, right? Our own streaming platforms, our own network distributions, that stuff is coming, it's built, and it's growing. And so supporting each other in non-hierarchical ways is my prescription for us.
Nice. That's a great answer to a tough question.
I agree. Listen, I think we need to leverage. I think this is a great opportunity for us. Hollywood may be crumbling, but however, it might be setting and paving the way for new innovative ideas. I know that happens all the time. We really need to leverage these opportunities. And that's the problem. When you're constantly thinking of the voids and thinking negatively, you don't see these as opportunities. I do. I'm like, wait a second. If things are crumbling, something new has got to get built in its place. That's my ideology.
Yeah. What do they say? Never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where we're at.
Well, investment, it happens in stocks every day. People buy the dip. It's the same thing. We need to buy the dip.
Yeah. I know that I hit a lot of walls, and I'm kind of stubborn. And actually, Mylene and I spoke about this. I'll knock on the door, and I'll send a message, I'll try, and somebody doesn't answer me. I'm like, well, that's your answer, And she's like, no, Jerry, you can't do it like that. What I mean? I'm like, oh man, I just don't.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah, I don't like no's, but the world's full of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started building my own brand. I'm people don't know it, but I'm socially awkward. I'm not a great networker. I'm just not. So I bring I don't know if you're familiar with Emily Aguilar. She's a filmmaker, and she's awesome. And I plan to have her here as a guest.
We met her out there as well in Park City.
Yeah, and actually, she's a Momentum Productions, right? Yeah. So she's like, I send her as the as the front line. I'm like, go talk to people, and she comes over, and she's so easy with that. She's just like, hey, can I join your table? And everybody's like, sure,
go,
and
network.
I just slide in behind you, like, hi, how you doing? I'm part of the package. But what I've done is, again, I've created my own thing, because again, I got tired of the no's, and so I started to greenlight my own projects, and it helped, of course, having a little bit of financing. It helped being able to build our thing and building a talent pool. Your thing is a little different, right? Your thing is basically you're the machine. So, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You like you said, there's an administrative side to it that you have to do. You have to do the taxes. You have to do the incorporation, everything. What kind of resistance did you get? Did anybody ever tell you, no, you can't do that, Cristina? You need to this. You have to go to this avenue, or did you just say, I'm doing this?
Because you're getting it from both sides. As a female as well. Let's harp on the obvious here. Let's address the elephant in the room.
There is that side of it. I mean, I write as a freelance journalist as well, and I get turned down sometimes. And I also want to say I think some turned down because of not having access to some of the old boys networks. That's true. But also I've, achieved a fair amount. I get to write for fancy places like RogerEbert.com. I'm one of their regular TV critics. I'm on NPR. Like, I've done some stuff. And when I was coming up, and now still, why I think it's so important that I have my own publication is that, one, I get to platform others and teach other Latina, queer Latinx folks that we can do this and give them the skills, because a lot of times, and it's the same on your side, I think, is there's a lot of gatekeeping. A lot of this industry is about who and I didn't go to no Harvard, I didn't go to USC, my parents don't know anybody
Harvard School of Hard Knocks, maybe. That's about it.
So, we have to build our own networks and break down those gates so that others can learn. And that's what I do at Latina Media Co. And I think that is important. And I also think that sometimes the no is telling you something, but sometimes the no is saying they don't understand. They don't know why your story is important, why this angle is important. They don't understand your community, and our community is diverse and powerful and strong and interesting. And so we deserve to have our stories told and evaluated, and that we should go forth and do that stuff. And so, sometimes being told to wait makes your product better, but sometimes it stalls you indefinitely, and you just kind of have to make those calls on your own to go and do it. And there's no magic formula to figuring that out. You just have to kind of listen to yourself and the people who you trust and who understand you, and go and make those calls. And sometimes it's fun, right? Sometimes it's fun too, that process.
How was traveling for you? You have a family, correct?
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that hard? Is that hard? Because
she's got a pause. Didn't you see her pause? He's like, I do.
It beats the hell out of me.
I mean, I don't do it that often. So Sundance is so special and so amazing. I go to Sundance and I get invited to other film festivals, and I really have to make some choices between them because I have little kids. They're finishing up 1st and 3rd grade this week.
Great years.
Yeah, so cute. So good. And I get to go to field day and the ice cream
Yeah.
social and like some of those things, because I'm choosing to do that and not always to be traveling and out there. Like maybe some of it is because I also don't love networking. Um,
It's
but
tough. Yeah.
Really?
No, it's tough.
yeah,
It's
I
tough.
don't
I
love
didn't.
it.
I didn't get that from her. I saw her on stage. I'm like, wow, she's commanding everything. She's authentic. She's well spoken, and that's interesting because you see that I made what's the word? I'm judging a book by its cover, and meanwhile, the underlying truth is you really are it. And same thing with him. Like I would
love it.
never anticipate that he's one of those antisocials. But his behavior is the polar opposite of what he's saying, which is pretty interesting.
Well, sometimes you have to force yourself to do it. And so, like, I like public speaking. You saw me doing public speaking.
Yeah, I
I
loved it.
love it. Love public speaking. But
Remember,
I
I told
don't
you, I'm
love
like, I love what she's saying.
networking. Those are different things. Going up to strangers and being like, "Hi, I'm
True.
Cristina. Can I sit here?" Like, I don't. That's not as
True.
much me. But if you put me at a table, I can talk to anybody. And so I think part of it is like recognizing your own strengths and leaning into them. Like maybe I don't love networking. I still do it sometimes, but I try to position myself in places where I think I will be successful. Like I go to events where I get invited to speak because I like public speaking and I think I'm good at it. And it makes the networking so much easier for me because then people know me and they have questions for me. And I'm able to talk and engage on that level. So, yeah, I don't travel that much, but when I do, it's strategic. I think that was your question.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I did too much of it the last year or so, and now I'm being a little more selective in the events that I go to. I just went to Imagen Foundation over there in LA, and that was great. And I met some really good people. What's next? Do you think for our culture? Like what's going to be our moment? If you have any kind of thoughts on it.
I think we need to get through this political moment where we are being so attacked, and so many of our folks are scared to literally leave their homes, whether because of their status or someone in their family's immigration status, or just the way you look, right? Like I live in New Mexico, and like we have a big indigenous population, and
Right.
they're being racially profiled. And it's like, if anybody belongs here, it's them. So we need to get through this. We need to figure out what is most important to us, and then we need to build those things in allegiance with folks who are like-minded. This too shall pass. And I
Yeah.
think we're going to look back on this era, and some people are going to have some pretty bad looks, right? Some people are doing some stuff right now where they're messing around and they're going to find out. And so it will turn, and there'll be a reckoning. And I hope that we are able to move forward and move our community interests forward in ways that are new and exciting and productive.
I would like to see like our version of BET. I would like to see our version where it's Latino based, but maybe primarily English speaking, because we have such a huge population that's here. And if you're able to go back to the island, a few times in your lifetime, you're kind of lucky, right? But I like to see something established like that, where again Latino, but primarily English speaking, and we can float, blur the line whenever we want, like we do in conversation. We go speaking Spanish, and then we throw something like empanada or
Spanglish at its best.
yeah, and we blur the line whenever we want, right?
It would be good not to see the same recycled faces, the same stereotyped patterns, cast typing the whole 9 yards. So I get it. Yeah, I would have to concede to
For
that.
sure. I would like a break from the narco story, for sure. There's got to be other things about our communities to talk about. Yeah, but I do think some of that is actually happening online. Like the BET model was like network TV cable station, and like not so much a thing. But there are Latino-focused streamers. Like I think we can build those things and lean into those things, and part of it is like us knowing about them. We run stories about them at Latina Media Co, so folks can know. But I think that stuff is like, we're working on it. The stuff is coming, and it's up to us to support it, and we do show up at higher numbers. But we need to know about it, and we need to populate it and get excited about it, and invite others in too, right? Like our stuff is cool. everyone should be interested in it.
We got to tell our stories. Nowadays with the advent of so much media, I mean, we have access to so much technology. You could literally create a full-length feature, short, whatever, with your cell phone. It's just having the audacity to say, I got a pretty damn good story. And what better person to tell your story than you? So
For
we
sure.
need some leaders, we need some representatives to basically go out and say, guys, go tell your story. Some Latinos would be like, cuenta tu historia, mi hermano, or whoever it is. Go out there and tell your story. There's so many, there really are impactful stories that we have that we don't even realize when we start looking. You ever wonder, you start telling your story like, man, I've been through a lot. I didn't even realize. You don't know how much you know until you have to teach somebody.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
For sure.
what I'll say is again, I write a lot. Even though you see the same movie, like we speak about the same movie, the same stereotypes and everything. So and me too. I'll have a few characters that are drug dealers. I have a few characters that are again do things against the law, but that's not everything that we are. We're just it's a microcosm of the population, right? I have a lot of my writing is Latino doctors, Latino lawyers, Latino cops, Latino anything, babysit, doesn't matter. We just have more than one story to tell, and that's when I write. I like to shine a light on our people, our representation in film and in television and in media, and it's something that I have to be honest, I didn't always think I would be doing.
Hmm.
Right. I would write things. Again, this is our really first time speaking of death, but I don't drink anymore. I don't smoke anymore, nothing like that. But when I was younger, I would come home and I would write, just scribble, just write. So I think my mind was telling me I want to be a writer, right? But I just didn't know what I was doing, and it took a long time to format that. So I didn't know that this was what I was going to do, and now I'm like, hey, I'm not doing anything else but this.
That's
This
great.
is it. I'm a storyteller, right? So, Christina, when you, I guess, again, I won't go into age, but at what point did you know this is what I want to do?
That's a great question. I had a tough journey around that. When I was a girl, like my kids' age, I wanted to be a writer. I knew I wanted to be a writer. I read voraciously. I wrote stories in my notebooks. But then I internalized messages from society, not from my parents. My parents were always great. That nothing I could write would ever be good enough. That
Hmm.
I was never going to be Toni Morrison, so I should just give up. And I kind of did. I stopped writing for myself. I stopped writing fiction, but I didn't actually stop writing. I was an English major at university, and I went into nonprofit activist work, and I wrote a lot, but I wrote newsletters and grant applications, really unsexy institutional voice stuff. And then, I'm maybe you've gathered, somewhat politically oriented. And when Trump first took office all those years ago, I looked around and was like, how did we get here? What happened? And I felt like one of the things that had happened was that people like me also, were quiet and weren't really clear and honest about who we were, about what our communities are like, and really about sharing our humanity. Because I think that's part of the problem
Right.
is not everybody understands what our community even is, right?
Right. Right.
And why we're valuable and why immigrants are valuable and that we're just like people, like everyone is just a person. And so I took that moment as a challenge to start speaking and writing as myself. Um, and it's been a beautiful journey since that moment of founding Latina Media Co., doing a lot of freelance writing, pushing myself and my arguments to better understand what I like and what I don't like and why, and to approach media not as necessarily like a puzzle piece, but as like a how can I explain what's going on here, what's important about something. And I love that work. I love
Right.
doing that explanation, walking folks through and sharing my worldview and perspective. And so I just would encourage folks that if you have something that you're holding back on, it can be really scary to go and try to live your dream, because then what if you fail? What if you don't actually like it? Like, there's this like hurdle
Right.
about it, but when you cross over, and even, like, maybe you don't win the biggest accolades. Like, I don't have any Pulitzers, but like,
Not
I
yet. Not
love,
yet.
yet.
Let's put it out there.
not yet. I love what I do, and it is a privilege and a joy. And so I think we need to do a job of defining success internally, because a Pulitzer, whatever, is an external accolade. And like, who cares? Like, congrats to those
Yeah.
people, but like, who cares? I care that I am doing something of value to my community that I love and that gives me joy and that feeds me and feeds my family, and that my kids can see me going out and doing that stuff, and that I am proud of me and they are proud of me and my community is proud of me. And like, what else do you need? Es todo, no?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think we're going to get a better answer than that.
No.
We're really not.
I think it comes down, you're right, to a solid self-audit, what makes us truly happy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so happy to have you here, and again, I appreciate you stopping in.
Thank you for having me.
Honestly, again, we weren't planning on doing too many remote things. I'd prefer to have people in the studio and everything, but again, with the timing, what happened, and he got sick, and I got sick, and then I shut down in June for the mid-season break. So this happened to be very, it's a fortunate connection that we did with the timing and everything, and I thank you for doing this on very short notice.
I was like, you know what? You're right. Because I was like, I don't know, man. She's busy. She's bombarded.
Yeah.
But I'm going to, but.
You got me. You got me.
I took a chance. I said, you won't know. What's the worst thing that can happen? She can't do it. And here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I want to say it's been a pleasure. These have been great questions, and I think important conversations for us to have out loud in front of folks and, internally. So thank you. Thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah. What are your handles? Where do people find your work?
Yeah. Follow me on C. Escobar Andrade. I'm a Latina, so I got the big long name. On Instagram, that's the number one way. And follow Latina Media Co. Also on Instagram primarily. Go to our site, latinamedia.co. And you'll be able to really see a pretty cool, diverse set of opinions and like different ways of approaching things. We recently ran a story on MIA, the new Peacock show starring a Latina, talking about
it's a good show.
What's exciting about that show. And it ran right next to a critique of My Killer Nannies, and talking about how and they're both narco shows. So like, we are debating it internally. And I think that's really of value. So come play with us, check us out. And if you are a Latina, queer Latinx folks who's always been like, I love media, I have lots of opinions about it, let me tell you, you can be a writer, you can be a critic. Hit me up. I respond to every single pitch email that we receive. You can see our pitch guide. We are transparent, and we need more of us doing this work. It is fun, and it is important. And, that's the best.
I love it. Thank you so much.
I told you she's fun. Didn't I tell you she was fun?
Yeah. Well, again, we didn't really get to talk too much at Sundance, because I am socially awkward. I got my back to the wall, and people were just like,
Me
hey,
too.
Jerry,
I like being in the corner.
Yeah. People are like, Jerry, you okay? You're like, I'm fine as long as I stay here, my social battery isn't what it used to be.
I'm shy too, as you can tell. I've always been very shy.
Okay, Manny.
This has been an awesome, and again, this is we as a people, we all have a different story, and I'm happy that we're able to dive into your journey and into the evolution of with the Latino voices in entertainment, and what it really takes to build a credibility, and especially in today's media landscape, and that's impressive. And again, I love your answers, I really do, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit here with us. Cristina, any final thoughts? Mission statement? Anything you want to say?
No, I think we covered it. If you want a soundbite, at Latina Media Co, we platform Latina and queer Latinx perspectives in media, and we do it because white guys write 2/3 of movie reviews, despite making up 30% of the population, and women of color combined. So that's everybody: Black, Asian, Indigenous, Latina, write just 4% of movie reviews, and that gives a distorted sense of what's important and what's quality and what matters. So I invite our community to join us and come be a part of changing that.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Amen to that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cristina Escobar. Once again, awesome interview. This was great, and I appreciate you.
It was
Thank
a pleasure.
You very much.
You're awesome,
Thank
Cristina.
you all.
Thank you.
Send me the links when it's up, but let me know if you need anything else.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be the audio first, and then it takes like a week or two after to do the YouTube for some reason.
I know the producer, so I mean, I'm in good with him. So we'll see.
Okay, let me
It's a
know.
little slow. Thank you so much, Cristina.
Thank you.
This
Ciao.
is Chateau Bow Wow. Today with the special co-host of Manny the Voice Cabo, and again an awesome guest, Cristina Escobar. You got her handles, check her out, and thank you for tuning in. This is Chateau Bow Wow. Stay blessed, guys.